Lee, fuck you. We watched Morbius. Welcome to Gooncast.
I'm starting to morb.
Good God, what a
Yeah,
segue.
I'm not doing the intro. It's Morbius. Fuck everything.
We're not pulling punches here, babies. Welcome to Gooncast episode whatever the fuck we're talking about Morbius.
We're somewhere in season 2. It's all a haze at this point.
What is time anymore? There's only Morb.
Look, it's season.
We're in the arc where
it's episode 6. It's the filler arc. It's fucking Morbius. Go away.
Oh,
yeah,
God.
This is the beach episode.
This is the beach episode. Yeah.
So it's Lee's wearing a banana hammock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's going on, everybody?
Yeah, we haven't seen y'all in quite a while. I hope everybody's doing good. Should we get on with the intros, Mr.
Yeah, we'll just retroactively go in there. What's going on? It's your boy Lee Alder, the Valley Jester. And boy, do we have an experience for you today.
Boy, do we. And I'm Kat, aka the Attack Cat, dialogue designer by day, kind of just very sleepy person by night at this point.
I'm Saber, and fuck you, Lee.
All right. That's what I'm talking about.
That's all we got.
It's sweeping the nation.
God.
I just
Morb fever, babies.
I just want to make this known. I have been up for 40 minutes. This is the first thing that I'm doing this morning, and I'm very mad.
You know,
as you should be, really. What are we doing here?
It's never too early for a blue moon. Why don't you have a little breakfast?
I am out of booze. I have coffee.
Oh, no. I'm sorry.
Oh no.
I'm out of booze.
Yeah, as you can tell, folks, the meme is not dead. It's still rolling hard. Morb Nation is running wild.
Morb Nation, baby.
And it's time we have a little fireside chat about Morbius.
What a giant piece of shit.
Yeah, like
a gigantic piece of shit.
Holy fuck. I can't. Lee, why don't you kick us off?
Absolutely. I will.
So first of all, we should kind of like set up a little bit of like how we were very adamantly anti-Morb. In fact, to the point where our chat had about weekly check-ins.
Yes.
Be like, all of you are safe? All of you are clean?
Yeah, I instated the Castle Super Beast Morbius safety check-in, where, every so often you just check in with someone you love, you care about. Like, you send out those texts when you just haven't talked to someone in a while, and you're just like, hey, haven't talked in a minute, just want to see how it's going. I'm here, much love, later. You just check in with everybody, be like, hey, you're Morbius negative, right? You're still pulling. You're still clean on your Morbius check.
Friends don't let friends morb out.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah, Morbius not even once. And then that first little hit is all it takes.
Yeah.
When that person's like, I'll just try Coke once. It's not going to be a habit. I have stronger willpower than that. And ladies and gentlemen, I feel the Morb fever.
Oh God.
I got a whole lot of Morbium coursing through my veins.
God. Yeah, so that's,
we held off for a long time.
We did. We waited until it was on streaming, and then even after that we didn't give them money. You know what I mean?
I have no idea what you're talking about. We supported the Morbius sweep.
So honest.
I'm sorry, I got distracted. I was thinking about amputating my hand with a hammer.
Oh, completely understandable. So, the only appropriate way to start this journey is I want to give you all a brief little retrospective. This is a very brief history of Jared Leto.
Oh my God. Okay.
He had some great early acting standouts: Requiem for a Dream, American Psycho, Fight Club, even Alexander. Iffy movie, but I liked him in it.
Lord of War.
And then he hit stardom status in 2006 with 30 Seconds to Mars with The Kill, which became a massive radio play. 30 Seconds to Mars took off. They were fucking huge. He enjoyed this music stardom for over a decade until he had to crawl his dank ass back into Hollywood, which almost started on a good track with Dallas Buyers Club, and then we got Suicide Squad.
Oh god.
We got his run in the Blade Runner sequel.
He was so bland in Blade Runner. He was so bland, and that's the thing. Like, based off of his older movies, like Requiem for a Dream, I was initially excited about Jared Leto's casting as Joker, and then they showed what he looked like, and I was like, oh no. That was before I even heard him speak. Just the fact that he looked like a fucking Juggalo gang member. I was like, no.
Do not insult the Juggalos like that.
I have a long and
the progressive rock band of this
listen. I have a deep history of hating Juggalos after a Juggalo focus tester. All right.
Oh my god. That's right.
Pass around the Fago. It's time.
Sitting there being a sexist the entire time, and then forgetting his beanie. Just keeps calling Elena a fucking bitch the entire playthrough.
Cool. Fun.
This is why you gotta join a more well-adjusted musical movement, like the Maggots. Be a Slipknot fan. Come on.
Be a Linkin Park fan.
We just put on masks and have weird, freaky sex with each other. It's great. So he makes his reemergence into Suicide Squad and starts to gain a little public traction with what a creepy sex pervert he is, because this is when the stories start to come out about what a shit coworker he is, sending used condoms and dead rats to his coworkers.
Yep.
Because it's in the spirit of the Joker, baby. I'm so fucking crazy.
God. Oh my god.
Yeah. That's why Heath Ledger just didn't do any of that when he was the Joker, and Joaquin Phoenix didn't do any of that when he was the Joker. So it's almost
because
as
it's
if
called acting.
Yeah, it's almost as if even when you're a method actor, you don't have to send dead animals to co-stars.
Oh.
Right.
It makes me furious that he got the role, because I just read in an interview, there is an actor in Hollywood who is extremely outspoken about not only wanting to play the Joker, but he's almost kind of miffed he hasn't gotten a chance to at this point with all the shitty adaptations.
Mm-hmm.
Willem Dafoe wants to play the Joker.
Oh, that'd be good.
God, that would be awesome.
And he wants to harken back to the Jack Nicholson version.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be fun.
I'm like, yeah, give me that shit.
That
sounds awesome.
I would also be down with Rowan Atkinson. I'd be down with basically anybody but Jared Leto. I mean,
honestly.
I would be down with Carlos Mencia. I'd be down with anybody but Jared Leto.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. So in 2019, Jared Leto began an annual festival for 30 Seconds to Mars fans. He rents an island in Croatia, invites his fans, who are called the Echelon, to a big music festival for 3 days. They all wear white. He completely embraces the whole I'm Jesus role. And it's basically just debauchery and several reports of him having sex with underage fans. So the jokes about Jared Leto having a sex cult, I mean, it depends, I guess, how you define sex cult, because this Echelon sure sounds like one. No, it's a music festival. But is it?
Is it?
Do you play music all 3 days? And then going forward,
if you call sex music, then yeah, sure.
Going forward, he will unfortunately continue to play the Joker in an upcoming role. He has a rumored role in Tron 3.
Ew.
And the numerous Morbius sequels that are sure to follow whenever he can pry himself away from Sex Cult Island.
Yeah.
And when I say the numerous sequels sure to follow, I just want to remind everyone that Morbius had a box office of 163 million, which is not great. But
listen. That won't stop Sony Pictures. That won't stop Sony Pictures.
You say that.
We gaslighted them into releasing Morbius a second time. We can gaslight them into making a sequel.
That's what I'm getting to here. Is we memed it into a re-release.
Which Brilliant job, internet. Thank you so much. Like, not even sarcastically. I know that kind of sounded like sarcasm, but holy shit.
It only made $300,000. Now,
it's so funny.
Now, it cost Sony so much more than $300,000 just to do that re-release. So, folks, this is how we win.
Yep.
This is how you hit them where it hurts. You use memes like the propaganda machine that it is. And this is how you hit them in the moneymaker.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah. So, should we jump into the movie?
Yeah, absolutely. We should.
Right. We don't have to. We don't have to. We can just move on.
Oh no, James. Let me. No. Please. Shh. It's okay.
I don't want to relive my trauma.
just shh. Let it.
James's Silent Hill is just a bunch of Morbius posters.
Not even any fog. It's just
it's just Morbius and Balan.
It's
That's
Morbius
all it is.
5, like
the
Morbius cinematic universe.
No, it's fucking a Morbius Balan hybrid. It's Jared Leto as Balan. It's Balan as Morbius.
Oh, wow. I'm gonna commission that.
Yeah, don't bring that into the world, Jim.
I'm not. Lee will. I have a clean
I'm gonna
conscience.
commission that. Absolutely. So, fun note. I'm sure my esteemed co-hosts might know this little Easter egg, but maybe the fine people out there don't. This is not the first attempt to get Morbius into a film. Morbius has a blink and you miss it 1 second appearance in the original Blade movie.
What?
Yes.
Really?
At the very end of Blade. The closing shot of the film is Blade and his co-star up on top of a building, and they're looking out across the city, talking about like vampire shit or whatever. And in the background, on top of another building, is the brief glimpse of a figure watching them.
Oh.
And this was confirmed by the writer as Morbius.
Oh, really?
Yep. The initial plan was to make Blade versus Morbius happen for the sequel. And then Guillermo del Toro's like, no, my idea is way better.
And his idea was way better.
He was right. Because Blade 2 slaps so hard.
Blade 2 fucks.
Blade 2 rents an island in Croatia. So it's not the first time trying to get him into a film, but they finally made it happen. And the first thing that we get on opening the movie is the most disjointed, confusing amount of time skips that I've seen in a while.
Oh my god, yes, absolutely. Like I have no idea what they were thinking with that. Like, keep going.
Oh no. Let me hear your opinion on the time skips, because holy shit.
So because it ended up being like, okay, well this'll be how it, like, they're trying to set something up here, right? So like, okay, I can deal with it being this like disjointed mess of just like one scene happening after another, even though it is weird and it is hard to follow and it is like not entertaining, but that's the entire movie. Like,
yeah. And for the record, people, I'm not hiding any spoilers on this fucking movie. If you have not been morbed, then you're not going to. Like,
yeah, don't do it now. Like,
holdouts.
Have you seen any superhero origin movie, specifically Batman Begins? If you have, you've seen Morbius, but done better. Because this movie is just a string of scenes that need to happen in a origin movie with nothing else added except for fucking chaotic, shitty editing and shitty-ass CGI and really stilted dialogue and really stilted performances.
Oh, Jesus.
Like,
the CG.
The whole, like, jumping back and forth in time stuff. Like, that's fucking, like, so many other origin movies do that. Like, Batman Begins, where we start with, like, adult Bruce Wayne, and then it cuts back to him as a kid, and then it cuts back to him as an adult. But it's like, in that movie, we're given time to kind of like see the point of most of these scenes, as opposed to just a hodgepodge of young Morbius fixes some $1 million medical machine with a fucking fountain pen or whatever.
Oh, Jesus Christ, yeah. I hope we'll get there.
The most stereotypical bullies who who stand outside a hospital and be like,
oh
my
God. The group of kids who went to the Stephen King School of Terrorizing Maine.
Yep.
It's like, hey, look at that kid. He's got shitty blood. Let's fuck him up.
Yeah, this kid has cancer.
Yeah,
let's beat him up.
Oh my God.
This kid has AIDS. We're gonna kick his teeth in. Fucking Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's just like, what, like, there's no reason for it except that, you know, it happens in movies, so we need to include it because Morbius is a movie.
Yes, because they want to establish, spoilers, the big bad guy is his, I guess this character's created just for the movie, Morbius's adopted brother. And we
has like 3 names.
Yeah, his name is Lucian, but they call him Milo.
For no reason.
And
I don't know why.
They wanted to briefly establish that he has anger issues, and they did that by he's getting beat up by bullies, so he smacks another bully with a crutch. And it's like, that's self-defense, that's not really establishing anger issues, but they just wanted to establish the whole villain who is the same as the main character, and use the whole trope of, we're not so different, you and I.
Oh, don't worry, good sir. I have a paragraph on that that we will get to later.
Because Lee fucking wrote the movie.
Lee, I have a script ready here.
Lee, when you read your paragraph, can you read it out of order to recreate the experience of watching Morbius?
So we get to the final battle. It's Morbius in the suit. Okay, so going back to what you said about Matt Smith's character, he is a recreation of a character from the comics who has a different name. He's called like Loxius Crown or some shit.
Oh, that's way doper and also stupider, but like...
Yeah, and he's got like a supernatural black cat or something, and they're just like, nah, fuck it. It's Dancing Vampire Man, who's gonna get memed on TikTok.
Yeah, that was...
But,
that was weird.
Holy fuck. Okay, this disjointed fucking opening.
That was like the Spider-Man 3 dancing.
Oh,
but not as funny.
Someone mashed those together in editing.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
It looked brilliant.
Yeah.
But yeah, to give you just like the gist of this fucking thing, we start with, here's the event that will get him morbed, and then we go back in time to him as a young boy fixing an expensive piece of equipment with a ballpoint pen, and Jared Harris, who has no right being in this fucking movie.
No.
Because like, Jared Harris is fucking brilliant.
Like, he's
fucking
here.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, you're a fucking genius or something. I'm going to send you to New York. And then it time skips. And here's the issue. It time skips about 15 or like 20 years to him rejecting the Nobel Prize of Science.
No, the Nobel Prize. It's not Nobel.
The Nobel
Prize.
Please, Lee.
How uneducated.
Get your fucking
have some fucking respect.
He rejects the Nobel Prize. But and then it time skips again to present day. But they've done no makeup or any kind of effects on Jared Leto to make you think that there's any time between those. It looks like he just rejects the award and then goes to work, and it's actually been like 10 years?
Yeah.
Or something?
Yeah.
Like, what's happening?
Yeah. There's like...
So, he begins a new stage of dangerous research into blood so that he can fix his lack of morbing. Mm-hmm. And he drops the greatest line I've heard in years, informing his love interest, Martine, that vampire bats are the only animal that has evolved to feed solely on blood.
Yeah, that's great, isn't it?
I would like to present to you now a list of animals that are classified as sanguivores because there's a word for it, including the mosquito, flea, tick, assassin bug, vampire, finch, oxpeckers, leeches, and lampreys, just to name a few. Also, vampire finches are a thing, and that's metal.
Yeah, that's fucking dope.
That's fantastic. That's what Morbius should have been genetically testing with. And Cap points out one of my favorite things in the movie of he's doing this super secret under wraps project with bats, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he keeps them in a big cylindrical like tube in the center of a lab that several people have access to. And
in a hospital.
In a hospital, a busy hospital. And no one has seemed to notice the big tornado of bats in the center of the room. Because also they never sleep. They just keep in constant motion.
First of all, it seems like the lights are always on.
Yes.
On the bat tornado. And they're constantly flying. They're constantly agitated in the movie. And I get it, because it's a movie and
they're next to Jared Leto.
Yeah, you want like a cool visual thing, but I'm sitting there like, do those bats just die of exhaustion every couple days? And he's just like constantly replenishing angry bats in this thing.
He needs to keep making his trips over to Costa Rica or wherever he gets them from.
The obligatory love interest even makes it a point to say that if anyone found out about this, he would get in trouble. But we see people walking by and they can see the bats.
Here's the thing. The first scene where like she goes into his office and like I think she's the one who like pulls off the cover of the bats and sees the bat tornado and is like, "Oh my god, you'll get in so much trouble." After that scene, the bat tornado is never covered up again.
Yeah,
because the audience knows about it and therefore it's fine.
God damn it.
God, it's in that scene actually, now that I think about it, that like right after they're talking about it in bat tornadoes in full view, that there's a problem with one of the patients. So another nurse runs into the room and goes, "Dr. Morbius, we need you right next to the swirling bat tornado." It's aggressive. It's loud. It's like they're screeching. It's Shang Tsung's soul tornado from Mortal Kombat, and it's just right there.
It makes no fucking sense why that's even mentioned in the movie if it's then just gonna be out in the open for the rest of forever.
Oh,
it's
Jesus
like what
Christ.
like
I'm so mad at this movie.
And like that's the thing, like a better movie might have made like a joke about it or something. You know, I feel like a Marvel movie would have been like you see, nobody cares, you know, like that sort of thing, like the Jurassic Park like.
No, I expected them to make a shot at DC and say like, you know, with all this work you're doing, maybe you should just set up your lab in a cave.
Yeah, there you go.
Like just throw the Batman zinger out there. It's right there.
Yeah,
but no.
Why not? But yeah.
So now Morbius is tired of having bat cancer and he wants to fix this.
Mm-hmm.
So he's ready to get morbed. But it's illegal, whatever he's gonna do.
Mm-hmm.
So he has to do it in international waters.
And he hires a bunch of armed mercenaries to be on his ship to because why not?
Mm-hmm.
He arms
rents
sexist
like a freighter ship.
Rents a freighter ship and gets a bunch of armed sexist mercenaries who have no respect for science.
Wait, they're sexist?
Yeah, well, one of them came down and he came down and is immediately harassing the woman scientist.
Yeah, women can't use science.
You're the assistant. Yeah, he's like, "Oh, you must be the assistant. Actually, I'm a doctor."
I don't remember that at all, but I guess that was them trying to set up the fact that like, you won't care when they're brutally murdered by our protagonist.
Yeah,
but James pointed this out, and it was just so fucking spot on. He rents a boat to do the experiment on. Okay, fine. In international waters, it's dumb, but I fucking get it. But he hired a platoon of mercenaries with all weapons.
This is literally the setup for like a horror movie. Where you know the main character turns into a horrible monster, which it's more like, I guess in real life it's more like a monster turns into a slightly lesser monster.
He was already terrifying.
But at the same time, Sony, despite their insistence on trying to set up a Sinister Six series, they don't want to do movies about villains, so like they're taking anti-heroes or villains and trying to make them more sympathetic. So it's like in a smarter, more competent horror movie, the ship would be staffed by normal, likable people who we feel bad for, and like there's that tinge of like
or like you
horror.
have one or two assholes because like it's because you still want to have like fun kills that the audience doesn't feel bad about.
Yeah.
But then you have somebody who's like your audience kind of like surrogate or your audience anchor, where it's like, oh, this guy has a wife and kids back home he's trying to get back to, and we're seeing like, oh my god, Morbius is horrifying.
Yeah, and and that would also make us feel bad for the character of Morbius because he can't control his vampirism. But Sony
and this
can't
movie,
commit
this
to
movie
that.
This movie tries to do that, being like, oh, I need to make this like vampire killing serum because it has to end with me kind of thing. And it's like, but like you haven't done anything that's that awful.
You know what could have even easily solved this problem if they really wanted to fucking make like Morbius sympathetic and the people that or that he murders at the start are like we don't care about. They're
a sex pest.
Well, there's that, but like they're in international waters. Just have the freighter attacked by pirates.
Pirates.
Oh,
there you go.
Yeah, there you
go. Like the
ship
ship is just attacked or whatever while Morbius is going through the process. As he's
doing the experiment.
Fuck yeah.
So you have like his crew of mercenary guys who are hired to help, but then they get wiped out by pirates as he's doing his experiment. And he's like, oh shit, like I'm gonna morb out, and then the pirates like come upon this guy and they're like, oh haha, like what the fuck is this? And then they get fucking wiped out, right?
Yeah, that'd be perfect.
That's so much better of a scene, and we just shat that out in 2 seconds on this fucking
James, you could have Morbius.
You could have done two variants of that scene. One, it's a bunch of innocent people, and then we feel bad for Morbius. Or two, it's a bunch of pirates, and we're like, fuck yeah, Morbius. And instead, they try to merge them both together. And all we get is a fucking dumpster fire of shit.
Yep. Yeah, where it's like, it doesn't matter at all because nothing matters because it's Morbius.
Nothing. Yeah. And we're gonna get to it eventually, but like the post-credit scene sums up this entire fucking movie.
Oh, God.
Don't worry.
Yeah, we'll get
I
to
transcribed it. Don't worry.
Oh, God. Okay, good. We'll get to it.
We're going in.
God damn it.
So he morbs out, and it's everything you expect. It's so shitty, and that is partly due to, I can't remember if one of you mentioned it or if it was something I read elsewhere, but Jared Leto insisted that all the effects be CG and not practical.
Yeah, I read that on IMDb.
Yeah, that was you. Yeah.
Because
and what was his reasoning? That it just like CG's the future?
Yeah, basically. Let me bring up
I think the unspoken,
because the thing still looks like a fucking masterpiece.
I think the unspoken reason is that if he can't be torturing someone with like his demands, then his demands aren't worth making. So he needs to torture an entire team of CG artists as well.
Yeah. Okay.
as well as his coworkers.
So on IMDb, it goes: Jared Leto explained that he opted to avoid prosthetic makeup for his character's monstrous transformation. Initially, we were going to use prosthetics, but I really fought for CG. Obviously, it's the future, and it was exciting to work with these incredible people that are on the cutting edge of technology. I just thought it would give us a lot more freedom. And it's like, wearing prosthetics can be fascinating. It can affect the way you move and express. Conversely, CGI has its limitations and benefits. And it's like, so use prosthetics.
Yeah.
Yep.
Fucking hack. He didn't want to admit it. He didn't want to sit in a makeup chair for 6 hours.
Yeah,
and that's fine. I would have respected the honesty more, because sitting in a makeup chair for hours on hours and hours on end can be really, really frustrating. Like fucking Robert Englund has gone on record and said, like, especially like in the early Nightmare on Elm Streets, he hated wearing the makeup because it's just really tedious and you have to like sit there and get up super fucking early. And you're exhausted. And
I mean, I know that was a big part of like Jennifer Lawrence's like, I don't want to play Mystique again. It's just like, it's a full fucking body like thing, right?
Yeah.
It's just
fucking Batista as Drax.
And
they're done with it.
Not to mention, like, if you want to remove it properly, you then have to spend another couple hours to remove it on top of that. So it's like you're looking at like an 18-20 hour long day, and that's just, it's brutal. I could sympathize with that as opposed to just the brain dead studio mind of CGI is the future. That's why the thing 2011 is such a good movie.
Yeah, morbing is the future. So my favorite new detail that I found out is, so after all the dudes on the ship get morbed, in walk the two most unnecessary characters in the film, a pair of detectives who, despite having about 4 or 5 scenes of screen time, do absolutely nothing.
Yeah, they're unimportant, and they don't even like die. They just kind of disappear.
Yeah.
Like,
so one of them is, of course, played by the wonderful Tyrese Gibson from Fast and Furious, who has apparently signed a 3-picture deal. This nothing character will be returning for 2 more films in the Morbius cinematic universe.
Oh, good lord. So, also, since we're talking about them, I want to mention my favorite line of the entire movie.
Okay.
Where they walk into God, I don't even remember who they're talking to. I think they're not talking to Morbius. I think they're talking to the love interest.
Okay.
At this point. So they're going in to talk to her about like what they've found, and like there was a nurse that was killed. It turns out not by Morbius, but by Milo. Spoiler alert, that's revealed later, but it's really fucking obvious. And the one of the detectives says something along the lines of like, oh, like we found like, you know, all the blood in the body had been what's the word? And then the other one goes exsanguinated. And you don't, blood does not get exsanguinated. Exsanguinated means drained of blood. You say a body was exsanguinated, not the blood was exsanguinated. It's like, it's just one of those things where like the writers know the word exsanguinated and wanted it to be in the movie because like it's a cool fucking word. Sanguine, awesome. Like dope fucking, like, you know, like yeah, if you're into words, it's a dope word. But it's like they didn't know how to use it in a way that wasn't fucking stupid because this is Morbius.
These are also the same writers that forgot leeches exist.
Yeah, that's true.
So, I mean, the bar's already pretty low.
Perhaps I am giving them too much credit already to know that exsanguinated does not apply to blood, but, you know, whatever. So anyway.
So as Kat alluded, the villain of the film is, oh my god, I didn't see it coming.
My god.
It's his not brother from
Doctor
back at the
Who.
orphanage
It's
at
Doctor
the blood hospital.
Who,
it's Matt Smith, who has made a terrible decision with his career. He was considered for a few superhero films in the past and turned them down because
he
wasn't
for.
They didn't say. But he was offered roles in the past for big superhero movies, and he always said no because it just wasn't his jam.
Yeah.
But the offer came across the table for this one, and for some reason, Morbius is the one he chose to go with.
Matt,
he's
why?
He's the third Doctor Who to be in a Marvel superhero movie, and it's the worst one. Like Christopher Eccleston is in Thor: The Dark World.
Is in Thor, which is bad.
It's not
David
great.
Tennant's in Jessica Jones,
and he's great.
He's fucking brilliant.
He's the best part of that fucking series.
Christopher Eccleston is still. Christopher Eccleston's character in Thor: The Dark World is still a better fucking character than anything in fucking Morbius. And he's nothing. He's nothing.
Folks, let that sink in, folks. Thor: The Dark World is better than this.
Batman and Robin is better than this. I will die on that hill. Batman and Robin is a bad movie, but like my chief problem with Morbius is it's visionless and it's fucking soulless. There's no it is just here as an obligatory. We want to make our own Marvel universe. And Batman and Robin is terrible, but it has a vision. It's a shitty vision, but it has a vision.
But it actually,
Zack Snyder's DC films, like Superman.
You can love them or hate them,
Man
but
of
they
Steel,
have a vision.
Justice League, Batman v Superman. They have a vision. This is as bad, if not worse, than the Jared Leto Suicide Squad movie for me.
Okay, Punisher Warzone is better than this.
Yeah, and Punisher Warzone fucking sucks.
Jonah Hex is better than this.
Dolph Lundgren's Punisher is better than this.
Elektra is better than this. I actually have a weird soft spot for Elektra.
Blade Trinity is fucking better than this.
Oh, wait. Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern is better than this.
Honestly, probably.
Yeah, it's just, God damn it! This movie is just infuriating, and it's
So just to keep the ball rolling here, you folks out there who are listeners of the podcast may know, because it's come up a couple of times, but I have a weird tendency to prophesize dialogue right before it happens. I think
God.
I think it's my stand.
Yeah, it totally is.
I'm pretty sure it's my stand.
We both had our moments, but you definitely had more in this one. Because there was that one line 30 minutes, like less than 30 minutes in, that I jokingly quit.
Well,
and then it happened 2 seconds later. And then you guys...
It's a timing thing with me, because I think the Fear Street one was the most egregious, where I went like, oh God, like when is the Radiohead gonna start? And then 10 seconds later, Creep started, and I said I quit.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Yes. The curse of prophecy.
So Milo becomes another Morb. He Morbs out, and I'm just like, oh no, I see it coming. We are going to get the line, "You can't deny what you are."
And you thought that was going to be in the final battle.
You were later.
I said something along the lines of, if it happens in this exact scene, I'm going to lose my shit.
Yeah.
And then literally 2 seconds later, the fucking line happened, and we were all just screaming.
It's just,
I never asked for this.
Yeah.
I never asked for this power. This curse. What a horrible night to have a curse.
And yet,
What
we are.
What a horrible night to Morb out.
What a horrible night.
So then Milo begins going on a rampage. He's all like, I don't have bat cancer anymore. I'm going to be awesome. And he does a TikTok dance for an hour. And it's great. It's the only part of the movie worth watching. And you can just find the minute-long clip of it on YouTube. So just go watch that.
Yeah.
Matt Smith seems to be the only actor having fun in this movie. He knew it was a piece of shit. And he's just like, fuck it, I'm just going to have fun.
That's true. I feel like this is probably almost like a, Michael Caine, I like the house it bought me kind of movie for him. I hope that's the case.
Yeah, he made the most of the shit he was given.
Yeah.
So now to harken back to something James alluded to earlier, which is a major pet peeve of mine in superhero films.
Mm-hmm.
And that is final battle, protagonist and antagonist have the exact same abilities.
Yep. And it's all shot in the dark.
I fucking hate this trope.
Yep.
I get that they're trying to create some sort of message with it, but it never works. I want to see a hero and villain have completely separate abilities.
Yeah.
You've got Thor with his lightning, and you've got Hela, who's like the goddess of death. Awesome. Let's have them go at it.
I will counter you, Lee. There is one time that I can think of where that has worked, where the hero and villain have had the same abilities. And I have
the note of the one that I like. I want to see if it's the same one.
I also have a note that I want to mention, but
Stardust Crusaders, Jotaro versus Dio.
No, I'm purely talking superheroes.
I'm talking comics in general, baby. That's mine. They have the same goddamn ability.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, that's a great power.
I stands can be whatever. For me, I was gonna mention that I think the Iron Man movies have done a good job of like,
Yes.
because Iron Man is just a dude with tech, and he always fights just dudes with tech, but it works because it's like it's sort of discussed, like, you know, the theme is literally like, you know, his influence on the rest of the world, that he's creating these villains by having this technology, and it's like, what are we actually doing with this? Like, this tech in the wrong hands is incredibly dangerous, and maybe you're the wrong hands, and it's just like, yeah, this is actually interesting. I thought the first 3 Iron Man movies did a great job with that shit.
Even the one where it's the closest, when you've got Obadiah as the Ironmonger.
Yes.
It's still just man in suit, but it's
Yeah.
a more like brutal suit. There's a size difference.
There's tweaks to the formula. It's not just 1-to-1.
Yeah.
Right.
And I mean, I guess the third Iron Man, there's not really the suit stuff, but you know,
it's nanotechnology. Kind of like,
it's nanotech, yeah. It's like, it's the same.
So these were just the ones that I popped off the top of my head, and I'm sure there's more, but the Incredible Hulk, Hulk versus Abomination, Ant-Man versus Yellow Jacket.
Yeah, that's fun.
Okay.
Black Panther versus Killmonger, which I'm fully of the opinion they didn't even need to fight. They should have just like had a diplomatic ending. Captain Marvel versus Jan Rog, but that's got an asterisk because Jan Rog's a tool.
Yeah.
Venom versus Riot and Venom versus Carnage.
Yep.
And then the one that I will say is actually good and gets a pass is Shang-Chi versus Wenwu.
Yes.
Because it's just a fucking martial arts movie. Of course they're going to have the same shit.
Yeah, and that fight is so good. Yeah.
It slaps.
Shit.
Because Tony Leung is the shit.
Yes, absolutely.
So we get Morb versus Morb in the big final matchup. Yeah. And I will give kudos to one aspect of the movie here. And that's that when they start morbing out with the superpowers and like time slows down, they play with the lights to almost look like watercolor effects.
Oh.
And I was down with that.
Okay.
I was kind of down with the watercolor shit because it looked like Street Fighter. I'm like, okay. This is dumb, and I'll take it. And then he summons all the bats in the city somehow.
Yeah, there's a bunch of
there's
a bunch of bats in New York.
Wings him to death.
There's a bunch of bats in New York now. Because why not?
Yeah, because why not?
And then blessedly, this piece of shit ends.
But hold on, you forgot the scene where he confronts a bunch of gangsters who have a lab, and then he tells them, "I'm Venom."
Oh, yeah, he needs a new lab to set up his operation, and so he targets the most low-down, sinister of crime, counterfeiters.
Oh God!
He takes over a lab of counterfeit money
that
printers.
Also, like, apparently in the trailer, which I did not see, but in the trailer, that scene there was like a joke involved when he goes, "I am Venom" or whatever. He does Venom's catchphrase, and then he immediately like backs down and just says, "Oh, just kidding. I'm Dr. Morbius."
Just wanted to say that, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's a joke.
It's dumb, but it's a joke.
It's dumb, but it's like a moment of levity when he's doing something kind of not really interesting. But like, Jesus.
In the movie, they cut out the joke.
They cut out the joke. They just left it as "I am Venom," and you're like, what? Why? What does this have to do with, like, that doesn't even make any sense. Like, it's like, yeah, okay, people know about Venom, but like, what does? Who cares? Like.
All right, let's move on to the post-credit scene.
Yes,
I will rage about this because
already.
They show in the very first trailer for Morbius and other trailers for Morbius, they showed off Michael Keaton, and everybody is like, "Whoa, what the fuck is this? Michael Keaton as Vulture? Is this actually MCU?" It started raising all sorts of questions before this piece of shit fucking came out, right? Because the first trailer dropped in 2020. This movie was supposed to come out in 2020, and thankfully the pandemic delayed it.
Oh, God.
It postponed our suffering. It postponed the morbing. And
postponed the morbing.
Michael Keaton's not in this fucking movie until the post-credit scenes. And from the post-credit scenes, you can clearly tell that these things were shot for something else and then poorly stitched together to make some fucking post-credit scene to expand the fucking universe, where a portal opens up out of the sky, and it's implying that somehow, because of the events of Spider-Man Far From Home, even though the rules don't work that way, Michael Keaton gets transported to the Sony universe, and he's in prison. And because he's just some random in prison who in that universe hasn't committed a crime, they just let him go. And then Morbius drives out into the middle of the fucking desert, and Michael Keaton shows up in full Vulture gear. Who knows where the fuck he got this Vulture gear?
Yeah, right? Because he came over from prison, and it's like very
and he somehow contacts Morbius, and he basically does the Avengers thing of like, I'm thinking of setting up a team because this is Spider-Man's fault. And it's
here's the transcript. Thanks for meeting me, Doc. I've been reading about you. I'm listening. I'm not sure how I got here. Has to do with Spider-Man, I think. I'm still figuring this place out, but I think a bunch of guys like us should team up and do some good. Intriguing.
Yeah. And it's
up there with somehow Palpatine returned.
It's also up there with this is Katana. She has a sword that traps
her
the
sword drinks
soul. And I wouldn't get on her bad side.
It's CGI Vulture, and it's very clear that these are two scenes being stitched together because Jared Leto is like they're not seen together. Vulture and Morbius are not seen together. It's very it's just, shot, reaction shot, shot, reaction shot. It's clear that this is two separate bits of footage, and it's just here so Sony can try to make Sinister Six with Venom and Vulture and Morbius, even though none of them, and Vulture's maybe the one bad guy based on Spider-Man Homecoming, but like he's not that bad of a person because like they fleshed him out and made him a decent villain and whatnot.
Yep.
A decent antagonist. But more importantly, Morbius's response should have been, who the fuck is Spider-Man?
Yes.
Because there's no Spider-Man in the Sony universe. So we have 3 of 6 villains, none of whom have a beef with Spider-Man, and none of them are particularly sinister.
Morbius is not even a member of the Sinister Six.
Yep.
Yeah, the Sinister Six are Mysterio, Doc Ock, Vulture, Electro, Sandman, and Kraven. Fucking Morbius, get the fuck out of here.
Shit, all Far From Home needed was one more villain, and it would have been a Sinister Six movie.
Yep.
Yeah, and it wouldn't have been the OG Sinister Six, but you could at least be like, okay, this is a great version of it because it's mashing together all the multiverses. It would have worked.
Yeah, exactly. It would have been fine. It would have been fun.
Bring back Gyllenhaal as Mysterio. Boom.
Oh my god, boom. Yeah, and you can actually I don't know,
do something.
Make it interesting because it's Marvel and they know how to make movies fun and interesting. And they know how to make a cast that has fucking chemistry with each other.
Yeah, Jesus
fucking Christ.
Nobody in this movie has chemistry.
That was like the one thing that you didn't mention that I wanted to harp on real quick was that I have never seen a movie with even the actors who I know are good, Jared Harris, right? Where it's just like you feel like none of these people have a relationship with each other. You feel like none of them even know each other. Like they say lines like "I've been taking care of you since you were a boy," or like we've known
friends.
each other since we were kids, or we've been working together for years, and like you how did you turn down the Nobel Prize, like that kind of shit. But it's like it doesn't. None of it fucking matters.
No, it doesn't.
Because there's no, you feel no connections between them. It's just, I've never seen such a dry presentation of scenes and interactions with other human beings before. There's nothing to latch on. I would be shocked if there was even fan fiction of this fucking movie, because I'm there's nothing to latch onto. You basically have to make your own, just write your own fucking vampire novel. You know what I mean? Because it's just there's no characters in this movie. There's nothing. It's just they're so bland and yeah, like lifeless. And I'm just like, I made jokes in the movie being like, how many fucking used condoms do you think Jared Leto sent to his coworkers this time? And James was like, in his mind, not enough.
Yeah,
and it's
not
like,
enough.
it's like, yeah, you can. That's the thing. It's like, and also the other thing, fucking Jared Leto just needs to stop. Like, I know we already talked about.
Stop what? Just stop.
Just stop. Yeah, he just needs to stop. I know we already talked about like how fucking awful he is. I'm honestly surprised he has not been canceled yet and that he's still fucking getting work. Because it's just like, we need to just like, first of all, he's an awful human being, and second of all, it's not fucking worth it. You know what I mean? Like, it's, even if he was, like, we fucking canceled Kevin Spacey, who was actually a good actor, right? Mm-hmm. And we rightfully did that shit. Jared Leto sucks ass. Just let him fucking never be in movies ever again. If I never see another Jared Leto movie, it'll be too fucking soon. Right?
Bring back like, Daniel Day-Lewis as Morbius.
There you go. There you go.
Get him out of retirement because he's a good actor. Mm-hmm. And just throw away Jared Leto.
He's a shitty actor and a shittier person, and I don't know why. Like, does he have something on someone in Hollywood? Probably. That's the only reason I can think of why he's still fucking getting work. It makes me very mad. It makes me probably as mad as it makes James that there's possibly a cinematic universe in store for this garbage.
I really fucking hate this movie. I really I might hate it more than Texas Chainsaw. I know that was a point of contention on the
that's definitely a point of contention. Lee and I are still in the boat that Texas Chainsaw is
I'm not even going to exaggerate. You said Texas Chainsaw and my fist clenched.
Yeah.
I like for me it's just if this movie had come out like 5 years ago, I probably wouldn't have hated it nearly as much because it's just a generic. It's mostly just a bad superhero movie. It's just pretty bad.
Yeah.
But I hate it for what it represents because of just also like the endless superhero fatigue and just the nonstop, like everybody is just trying to make cinematic universes and the endless media avalanche. And I don't want Sony to be rewarded for this. I don't want Sony's cinematic universe to exist. Not because, I don't want Sony to have a competing thing for Marvel. No, I just want good movies. And if Sony's not going to put in the fucking effort, it just makes me so mad. Like, Venom is bad. The Venom movies are bad. But they have talented actors doing their best with the material. And it slightly elevates it. Like Tom Hardy interacting with himself as Venom it's charming, it's cute, it's fun. It's not a good movie. Venom is probably
Venom's awful.
Venom is really bad, and it even fucking has a goddamn fucking rap theme song straight out of fucking 2004.
Oh God, does it?
Yeah. Fucking Eminem did a rap theme song for Venom. Called Venom.
Oh, hell yeah.
That's right. I forgot about that.
The song is kind of a bop, but this doesn't happen with superhero movies anymore. That's something that happened like 2004, 2005. It's a bad movie, but Tom Hardy slightly elevates it. And the Venom sequel, it's a bad movie, but Tom Hardy and Woody Harrelson slightly elevate it because they're really talented actors doing the best with their material that they're given. Whereas this is just... It is just a cog in the machine to try to make money. That's all it is. I can't remember the specifics as to what scene it was, but like I distinctly remember, and you guys making fun of me because it was like an unintelligible fucking rant about how elements of Morbius it's just copy pasted from Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yeah,
it's just the same shit.
Well, okay.
Oh yeah. I've got the quote here. All I heard was the same thing as the 2. And it's like, no, I understand when you're talking about Morbius. Like that's sometimes the most fluent. That's the most fluently you can speak sometimes.
It's just I can concede probably that Texas Chainsaw is a worse movie, but like. I really hate this movie on the principle that it exists and what it represents.
I
just this
adore the
hellscape
fact
of
that you
Hollywood.
I adore the fact that you hate Morbius for what it represents, like,
It is
for its ethos.
It is everything that I hate about Hollywood in one package. And I was already really burned out on Marvel because just like the endless avalanche of like everything with Phase 4, where it's like 5 shows a year, 4 movies a year. Like, I haven't seen Far From Home, even though I know it's good, and I wanted to see it when it was first announced because I like.
Yeah, Spider-Man's fun.
Spider-Man's a lot of fun. I wanted to see the new Thor movie, Love and Thunder, when it got announced because I loved Ragnarok, and Taika Waititi, I think, is a great, fun director. I wanted to see Guardians of the Galaxy because James Gunn is a very talented director, but I got so burned out, and Morbius is basically like solidified that, where I am now just, I'm never going to watch another Marvel movie ever again, even MCU. I just can't stand it anymore. I'm done. Yeah. I want it to die.
Yeah.
I just want it to die. I want everything to die. I want the heat death of the universe because of Morbius.
Because of Morbius. So final thoughts, guys. Morbius, recommend?
No.
I would
not even a little bit.
Not even as a meme. I would rather
not even as a meme. Don't do it as a meme. Like okay, if like even if you like bad, like, you know, we here on this channel appreciate bad movies.
Axum.
Right? Axum, Grave Encounters, all of that kind of shit where it's like, hey, it could make us angry, it could be insufferable, but we have fun watching it and like ragging on it and just like memeing it with each other, right? This movie has like nothing to latch onto. Yeah. It is dry, like granola bar of a fucking movie. That's just like, but even granola bars have, a purpose. This movie isn't even that. It's like if granola bars were made of sawdust, that's this fucking movie.
Mm-hmm.
I would
rather
no nutritional value.
I would rather chop off my dick and throw it in a river of fire than ever recommend anybody watch Morbius.
Yeah.
So accurate. we're gonna see the sequel, right?
Yeah, we are. Obviously for the memes, god damn it.
That resignation.
I
know what my fate is.
I'm going to shit myself to death. Just goddamn it.
Sure, James. And then we'll revive you because
Morbius.
You need to finish this corpse party.
I need to more about.
Let's try to bring some life back into Saber. We want to use the rest of the podcast to play catch up because it's been a hot minute since we've met with you fine people. Saber, why don't you start? I think we need to talk about some things that you've been up to and maybe enjoy. Put some life back into your soul.
I guess before we get into that, because we can sort of briefly make it a double feature because it's tangentially related because of bats. We all watched The Batman. I thought it was all right. Robert Pattinson was neat. He's fine. Paul Dano, I finally have more followers than that fucking nerd.
Not Paul Dano himself, but the Riddler.
Paul Dano's Riddler. Yes. Paul Dano's Riddler had like 507 followers. It's like, this fucking terrorist only has 507 followers. I have the exact same number.
Yeah, they were like, it's all fringe weirdos, and then we looked at Saber's fucking Twitch, and we were like, oh no.
I have the exact same, so that was my marketing push for the last month and a half, is like, please give me more followers than Paul Dano's Riddler.
We all watched The Batman together, and I thought it was good. I have a quote in, like, out of context that was basically like, I'm also burned out on superhero movies, but what I'm not burned out on is Seven.
Yeah.
And yeah, this movie was very, very Seven. I think my only real criticism of it is that I think that the parallel between like this Bruce Wayne and Kurt Cobain was maybe a little too on the nose. I think they should have either like made that parallel just like kind of like an undercurrent and then not used his music. Or they should have used his music and, like, not made it so obvious that, like, he's Kurt Cobain. You know, like I just felt like one or the other. I felt like both together was very like itchy tasty in Resident Evil, where it was just like, okay, it's a little, you're going a little too fanboy here. Let's tone it down a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, and the fucking Joker scene was awful.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. Colin Farrell stole the movie, but the Joker scene was awful. The Joker scene made me not like the movie nearly as much.
Yeah, the thing is, I don't necessarily like the person that the acting was fine, right? Like I didn't hate the actor playing the Joker. It's just we didn't need the Joker in this movie. Like we shouldn't have had the Joker in this movie. We should have made him his own thing later on.
What apparently they want to do. My my housemate is a huge Batman fan, and she gave me some insight as to what apparently the plan is for the Joker. And apparently we can put our concerns a little bit to rest. The plan is to not have him be like a villain anytime soon. He is going to be a Hannibal Lecter style character.
Well, see, because there's a deleted scene from this movie where he does exactly that. Yeah,
that's going to be the plan for like whatever they do with the franchise. He's just going to be that person in his cell playing off of Batman's wits.
That I don't mind so much.
Yeah.
That seems interesting to me. I don't think I think it's a good thing that it was cut from this movie in particular.
Yes.
But like, yeah, if you want to do sort of like a rogues gallery Batman type thing where it's like Joker's been dealt with, but we still have to, encounter him in some way, now as a much more like low-key version since he's been caught and neutralized, but still with that ability to kind of like really twist like Batman screws when he gets the chance kind of thing.
It plays right into why I really like this movie, and that's that someone being the writer remembered that Batman is a detective.
Yes.
And they made it a detective movie.
Yes.
And
that was the best part. Yeah.
Yeah. It felt like, like Sherlock Holmes going out there with his tech and, doing his thing. And if they're going to take that Hannibal Lecter route, I love the idea of like, he's the detective. He needs to get inside the mind of the villain. Well, who better to go to than the one villain who knew how to wind your shit up?
Yep.
So just like, oh shit, I gotta go see him. And then like, have a little 5-minute exposition dump with the Joker. And then, okay, and you're good.
Yeah.
So hopefully they handle it with some tact. I also read a couple days ago that they greenlit the sequel for Joaquin Phoenix's Joker.
That upsets me, honestly.
There's a direction that they could go with it that I really, really like, and I hope they do it. Because the subtitle for the movie is like the something of two. I can't remember. So my hope is, and bear with me here, it's going to sound stupid at first, but bear with me. I'm hoping that second is Harley Quinn.
Oh.
Because I want it to be, I want like half of the movie or more to be in Arkham. And I want her to be Harleen Quinzel, his shrink. And I want the whole thing to still be a slow burn character piece where he's already kind of lost it. So now it's wearing down her psyche, and we get to see the slow transformation of Harleen into Harley Quinn.
Yes.
And then we get that, and then we get her being that in the last 5 minutes.
I know that we just ragged on superhero origin stories. I would love to see a like Harleen Quinzel turning into Harley Quinn.
In the style of that fucking
basically Breaking Bad with Harley Quinn. I'm here for it.
I would like that as a thing, but at least for me, the main appealing thing about the Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie was that it was intended to be just a one-shot standalone thing.
Correct.
And the fact that it's getting a sequel, just it makes me like the Joaquin Phoenix one less.
I just googled it. It's the working title for the script, which is and I'm gonna butcher the French, but Folie à Deux.
Oh, Folly of Two.
Yeah, which is the Madness of Two directly.
Oh, Madness of Two. Okay.
Which does definitely kind of sound like maybe Harley.
Yeah.
Which I would be down for.
If that's the approach, I'm with it.
That sounds cool. Yeah.
And then just really fuck with the multiverse and still make it Margot Robbie.
Yeah, there you go. That's the thing. Like, I mean, I don't know how many people saw I, Tonya.
I didn't actually, but I'd like to, because Margot Robbie has become like my favorite current actress.
She's amazing, and she's especially amazing in that movie.
Okay, I gotta check that out.
She does such a good. There's one scene in particular where she's trying to like she's having a fucking breakdown in front of a mirror, and she's just trying to put on that like showgirl like everything's fine. I'm gonna go out there and do my fucking thing because that's all I fucking know how to do. It's so good. Like.
Yeah,
she's brilliant. I love her.
For some reason, I'm really excited to see her as Barbie.
Oh my god, me too. Me too.
I don't really know why.
I'm here for it. That fucking it sounds wonderful.
To cycle back to one thing you said, Kat, because I was reminded of it and I wanted to get the exact quote. The Kurt Cobain thing with the Batman.
Yeah.
There was a tweet that I really liked from Jason Pergin, who's the writer of John Dies at the End, and he was like, I think he founded Cracked. And he goes,
yeah, he did.
I think if you could bring 1991 era Kurt Cobain to the present and show him that his song about his homeless experience is being used in a $200 million Batman movie to help set the mood for a Riddler scene, he'd think it was the funniest fucking thing he'd ever heard.
Yep. Yeah, that's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's I get it. I get the vibe you're going for, but I just think it was a bit of a miss for me.
Yeah.
Batman good.
Yeah.
Go
good.
see.
Batman fine. Batman's the superior Bat movie between Batman and Morbius.
True. That's the best way we could put it, for sure.
It's fine, at least for me. I'm more muted because again, like I'm a bitter old man at this point with superhero movies, but
sure,
I like Seven. I like the vibe of it. Pattinson's great. Colin Farrell steals that fucking movie for me. Colin Farrell was great.
Yes.
Oh, he's wonderful.
He's so good, and he just like it's a lot of prosthetics and stuff, but I was just like sitting there. I'm like I go to Will. I'm like, you know who that is? And he's just like, no, is that somebody I should recognize? I'm like, look at him. Like look at him a little closer, and he's just like, I don't know. I don't know like American actors that well. And I was just like, it's Colin Farrell. And he's just like, who is that? And I'm like, God damn it, Will.
In fucking Bruges.
But yeah, in fucking Bruges. He that's the thing. He knows when I mention movies he's been in, he's like, oh, that guy. But like he won't know the names of people. Yeah. But anyway, the other thing we did was Godzilla Final Wars.
Fire Mazer. Yeah, here's a movie I'm actually excited about.
Don fucking Fry.
These two goons were like, Kat, you've never seen Godzilla Final Wars, so we're watching Godzilla Final Wars. And I was just like, wait, what? And then they just like dragged me into this fucking insanity, which was just wonderful.
You thought we were being sarcastic when we told you it's our favorite Godzilla movie. And we're like, no, we're not being sarcastic.
I did, because I was just like, well, it's probably just but yeah, it's like, it's so cheesy and bananas.
It knows what it is, and it doesn't give a fuck. It is unapologetic, nonstop insanity.
I fucking adore scenery chewing villains.
Yeah, and the alien.
Holy shit! X. He's he's referring to everyone as cattle and like like every fucking scene he's calling the humans that are like trying to defeat him cattle, and it's just so funny. And I was just like, I just wanted one of them to just be like, shut the fuck up, dude.
Listen, mounting.
There are two things you didn't know about the Earth. One is me, and the other is me.
Yep.
The other's Godzilla. The mounting frustration that X shows every time he sends another monster and it gets jobbed out in like 20 seconds is just so beautiful. Yeah. Folks, if you're into kaiju, go watch Godzilla Final Wars. It's Godzilla versus like his entire rogues gallery,
like including CGI American Godzilla.
Yeah, he only has two allies in the whole movie. It's of course Moth Mama. It's of course Moth Mama and Don fucking Fry, who is basically a human kaiju.
Yep, yeah, basically. Oh my! And he's the only person in the movie that doesn't speak Japanese, and they just don't care. Like he's speaking English to everyone, and they're responding in Japanese, and like obviously they cannot understand each other. But the movie's just like, sure, they get it. Like
He speaks the universal language of violence.
Yeah, basically.
The universal language of fire, Mazer.
Oh my god! Oh, it's so funny. It's so fucking funny.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I ended up spoiling myself a little bit on like, cause yeah, like they were like, I think I ended up like looking up one of the actors on IMDb because I was just like, they look super familiar. And then I found like in the Godzilla Final Wars like, you know, description, it was like the twins, and I was just like, oh, I know who that's for.
Yeah.
I know who that's for.
Yep.
So yeah. Go see it. It's very fun. I think it's just you can rent it, right?
Yeah, rent it on Amazon Prime.
It's an older movie, but it checks out. It's
like early mid 2000s, but
2000 is 2004 because it was the 50th anniversary.
You guys
film.
mentioned
that's right.
You guys mentioned too. It was like one of the last ones where they were in suit. There was a guy in a suit.
Yep, that actually is the last one.
It's the last one.
Yeah, because Shin Godzilla, it's primarily CG.
Mm-hmm, yeah,
and that's the first Japanese Godzilla movie where it's a CG Godzilla.
Oh, that movie fucks.
And they hilariously canonize the American Godzilla as one of as like a separate kaiju.
The 1998 American Godzilla.
Yeah.
Who just gets fucking bodied immediately. Like,
Zilla.
It's great.
Yes.
Yeah, the director's rationale for naming him Zilla was that the 98 Godzilla took the god out of Godzilla. Because Godzilla is supposed to be this unstoppable monster. And instead he just gets bodied. Yes.
Thank you.
She gets bodied by fighter jets. And that's not supposed to be Godzilla. Godzilla is supposed to be unstoppable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh,
so what else did you do? What else did you do this month, James?
Yeah.
It's just been mostly streaming stuff outside of just an occasional. I started rewatching Better Call Saul because the finale is coming up. And I said that I was going to. I intentionally stopped watching Better Call Saul after season 1 because I was like, I want to binge it like I binge Breaking Bad.
Gotcha.
Because I don't like week-to-week television. I'm just tired of it. I don't like the waiting, and I'd rather wait for it to be wrapped up, and then if I hear it shit, then I can just skip it, because like clunker finales like Dexter and Game of Thrones just ruined me. Like, I don't want to invest hundreds of episodes into something that is just going to overall be a wet fart.
Well, I don't know what you mean about Game of Thrones, because it had 4 perfect seasons and then was strangely pulled from broadcasting, and we never saw the ending.
If only.
Weird, yeah.
And then Vince Gilligan came back that year and gave us a second ending to Breaking Bad that was better.
Somehow better.
That asshole. I'll end mine twice.
cheeky motherfucker. And then also I because I haven't watched the last few seasons of it, I started rewatching Castlevania, and like what I've seen of both of them I adore, and I'm pretty sure I'll adore the rest of them. But mostly it's just been streaming stuff. Like Kat and I have been going through the Quarry recently, which is fucking great.
So we did. I wanted to talk about these two. We did. Well, we can't talk about the Quarry yet because we're not done with it. But so far so good. But we did play through. We did beat House of Ashes, and then I went on to play it twice more with other people.
Okay, can we talk about House of Ashes and how it's actually good?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Like
I don't like a lot of that series, but. It's really solid.
Hey, and it also, you know what? House of Ashes also ties into Morbius because it's about vampires.
It is about vampires, but alien vampires, baby. Yeah, I really dug it, and it's probably the first of the Dark Pictures anthology that I've been excited to replay. The other two, I think, were so bad that we had no expectations of House of Ashes. We were like, this is gonna suck.
Yeah, we waited like 8 months.
We waited so long because we were just like, I don't want to do this again, you know?
We both had it since it came out, and just we didn't touch it because Little Hope was Man of Medan on my first playthrough was fine, but on our recent second playthrough it was not as good. But Little Hope is real bad.
Yeah, they improved a lot of the like gameplay of it, you know. So like, because Man of Medan it was way too punishing with the QTEs, especially when you're playing co-op and there's a delay. It's just like, oh shit, I'm fucked because I didn't see the prompt come up because your thing lagged but like your timer didn't. So yeah, it's just like yeah. The UI lagged, but the timer didn't, and therefore I failed. And you're like, cool, thanks, great, wonderful. But yeah, no, House of Ashes is actually good. I've played it with two people who did not play any of the other Dark Pictures. And I do think that part of the us liking it is that we have the shared experience of the Dark Pictures anthology being awful before that. Because they were more lukewarm than I was about it. My sister really enjoyed it, and my other friend was like, I don't like the fact that it's wearing two hats now because it's vampires and aliens. And I was like, no, it's an escalation. You know, I'm just like, whatever, you think what you want to think. I really dug that.
I like
twist.
Weird schlocky shit.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, it just went insane. Like, yes, sure, it's two separate things, but you know, it's not, because the aliens got infected with vampirism. And it's vampire aliens. It's dope. It's weird. It's a fucking sci-fi original movie. It's fucking weird and awesome.
And it had at least some likable characters. Because, like, there was Fliss and Man of Medan, and then the rest of the cast was
Salim is best boy.
Salim is best boy, and absolutely. Then what's his face? Jason? He has a fucking arc.
He has an actual arc where, like, he fucking learns to
not be a shithead.
Not be a shithead.
I'm not a fan of the God, I blanked for a fucking second. The Dark Pictures. I'm not a fan of the whole like play through a movie style, like the David Cage Quantic Dream shit. I'm not a fan of it.
Okay.
But this story and its pacing, its beats, if this was a Shudder original, I would not shut the fuck up about it.
Yeah,
I'd be like, this is the greatest B schlock that has been released in years. Go watch this.
Yeah. Yes,
it's absolutely. Like Relic. It's just like some old, like weird monster flick that you're like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like Mimic. I forgot about Mimic.
Yeah.
To counter that though, I am a big fan of like this style of, you know, quote unquote movie games. I don't necessarily think that like not all games should be like this. Personally, what I really want to see is I want a branching narrative game that has coupled with actual gameplay. You know, like almost like you take like a I don't know, you could take a third person shooter or something like that, right? You could be a Resident Evil or a Last of Us or something like that, but then just give me decisions to make. And that affects kind of like where the scenes go. And like you could, you know, like obviously that's like a huge fucking scope for a game.
Yeah.
But you could make stuff that's like, you know, you could make a Dark Pictures length experience where it's like 3 or 4 hours, but give me that like replayability of my decisions fucking matter. And everything I do in the gameplay, you know, matters.
There's a good amount of situations like that pop up in Witcher 3, but not enough that you can like dictate the narrative.
Yes.
Like there's enough that like, oh, there's like 8 ways I can solve this problem. That's unique for this kind of game. But like, yeah, it doesn't have that, you know, adjust the structure sort of thing. Like Disco Elysium feels like it gets kind of close.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I get what you're saying.
Yes. I want basically a, like if House of Ashes had also come with like, it was basically Call of Duty on top of it, that might have been like the perfect fucking game for me. Because it's just like, holy shit, cool. Like, and you know, granted, you'd have to like, how do you handle people dying in the gameplay sections? It might be a little bit too much of a, you know, a disconnect between gameplay and cinematic choices, but maybe not. I don't know. I think there's a way that it could work. I think it's maybe just like, it's a problem that nobody is trying to solve because that first of all, most people don't like the movie games, right? Like most people don't want that kind of stuff. And second of all, it is something where like if a game isn't delivering like almost like 80% of its experience to the user in one go, people are like, cut it. Cut that shit. We don't need this thing if nobody's going to see it, kind of thing. And it's just like, well, that, all right, but that kind of this is like cat's dream for, if I am ever given like millions of dollars, I would want to try to make a branching narrative game that has, or like a game where like your choices in gameplay affect how the narrative works.
Ooh, that could be a fun episode for a future podcast, is all three of us brainstorm what we would do with our, like, if we could make one game.
Yeah.
That'd be a fun one.
That'd be cool.
Well,
yeah, so that's...
I got a couple quickies and then one gush in regards to stuff. Quickies, City Shrouded in Shadow, which is basically Kaiju Simulator, except for you're a normal, you're a mook, you're a normal civilian. I have no idea what the fuck happened in the game because the game is it was Japanese only release. There's no English translation. But as a big fan of kaiju and whatnot, especially since all the kaiju in this movie or game are licensed from like Godzilla and Gamera and Patlabor and Evangelion and Ultraman, this game was a lot of fun for me personally. It's a spinoff of the Disaster Report series. You're just trying to escape a city, and it's like it's pretty cool. A little overboard on these two Yakuza dudes want to murder you because you saw them doing a deal, and it's like, bro, the city's being attacked by kaiju. Fuck off. We have better things to do. Get away from me. But I dug it. And then Iru, which is another Japanese only game for PS1. It's a horror game that I streamed recently, and I just knew it was a Japanese PS1 horror game, and it does have an English translation. What I didn't know was that it was a fucking Lovecraftian horror game, like straight up fucking Cthulhu and shit. Like, and that was really, really, really cool. I love it. But the last, which I want to gush about in a little bit more detail, is something that I slightly gushed to you guys off podcast, and that's Rule of fucking Rose.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Because good fucking God, I have not played a horror game that emotionally impactful since Silent Hill 2. The gameplay is a hot fucking mess. Like, the combat fucking sucks. Even by
even
survival horror.
So.
Yeah, even the devs have said so. Even by survival horror standards. The combat's really, really, really bad to the point of frustration.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can get past that, it is one of the most heart-wrenching psychological horror games that analyzes trauma, and it just it's the first time I've ever cried on stream. It's the only time I've ever cried on stream. That ending fucking ripped my goddamn soul out of my fucking body.
Yeah.
The whole basic thing is it's set in the 1930s. You play as this young 20-year-old woman, and she doesn't remember most of her childhood. And she revisits the orphanage that she grew up in, which has been closed down. And shortly after she gets there, she is ambushed by these kids wearing burlap sacks on their head and thrown into a coffin. And when she wakes up, she finds herself on an airship. And it becomes apparent over the course of the game that she is reliving her memories of her childhood in the orphanage and the bullying that she endured. And it's mixed with the make-believe games that she would play with her few friends at the orphanage, where they would imagine themselves on an airship. So, like, a lot of the airship rooms are direct one-to-one recreations of rooms in the orphanage. And there's a lot of symbolism in terms of the monster design and what happens and whatnot. And the whole thing is building up to the event of why did this person mentally block all of her memories. And for me, it was one of the most gut-wrenching experiences I've ever had, and I can't recommend it enough. Outside of the fact that the gameplay is a hot mess. If you can tolerate really shitty gameplay, play it. If not, watch a long play or an analysis video or a story video. It really hits hard. It's a great goddamn game despite the shitty gameplay.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed watching you play it for the moments I was able to tune in.
And I remember you distinctly being like, what the fuck is happening? Because so much weird shit happens.
Yes.
And it's just like,
yes.
it's really abstract and surreal. But a lot of it starts to become more... It's like Silent Hill, where you see a weird fucking monster and you're like, that looks creepy and horrifying. And then when you get more of the narrative details, it clicks as to what the monster is. And you're like, oh, God.
Yeah.
You know, and it hits hard because of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's basically all my shit.
Fuck yeah.
Nice. So, Lee, do you want to go next? I have like 4 things I want to talk about, but they're all pretty short. So.
Sure. Yeah. I'll step up next.
Okay.
I'm not gonna go a whole lot into some of these because I have a feeling I like enough of them that they may make an appearance in the second annual Golden Rockos. So I want to save my more in-depth discussion on them for then.
Very cool.
But I completed Nier Automata.
Fuck yeah, you did.
Nice.
Which is probably going to be in my top 10 for the Rockos. So I'll hold a lot of shit back on that. But like, it's the meme of like you go in expecting android booty and you leave with crippling existential dread. It was fucking wonderful. And to quote a wise man who is in the podcast with us, it has an ending so powerful that cannot be conveyed in any medium other than video games. Which is absolutely correct. I'll leave it at that for now. I played the fuck out of a nice little relaxing ditty called Atelier Ryza. Great adventure crafting game, part of the Atelier Alchemy series. Lighthearted, fun, really good crafting system. Claudia, best girl. It's a great time. I feel so bad talking shit because Saber bought it for me. I am suffering through FF7 Remake.
Listen. Don't feel bad talking shit. You knew what it was because you saw me play it and you were in VC with me as I went through it. You knew what you were getting into and you wanted to go through it anyway to experience it yourself. I just saved you the money.
I'm trying so hard.
Don't feel bad. Don't feel bad.
Oh my God. Every time I start to get invested and the nostalgia kicks in, like when they do a scene that's a perfect recreation of the original, and I go like, wow, this is really sweet. Yeah, I remember the old days. And then, spooky condom monsters pop up, the fucking time ghosts.
Time goes,
and they ruin everything. I'm the Kingdom Hearts apologist, and Nomura needs to stop.
Throw Nomura in the same bin that Jared Leto's in. Throw them both into the bin.
On the good side, I like the combat system. I think the combat system's really good.
It's visually it's nice, and song wise it's nice too.
I remember when Advent Children came out, I'm like, man, wouldn't it be cool if I could play a Final Fantasy that looked like Advent Children? And now I'm playing one that looks better. Like, that's great. Expanding some of the minor character roles into bigger parts, like when it's characters I like, I'm totally cool with. Like Reno and Rude getting more time, I'm always okay with because I love the Turks. Tifa is still absolutely wonderful. Barrett is so fucking good.
Eris got a glow up. I didn't like Eris in OGF
huge
FF7,
glow up,
but she's great in the remake. Her little personality and like I love her dodge. It's this cute little bunny hop thing.
her character has like some of that like feisty, spunky attitude that's just fucking great. Like when a bunch of the shit heels at Don Corneo's palace are like eyeballing her and be like, I don't know, man, she looks like she could clean up pretty good. And she's like, what do you mean clean up? Yeah, we could make something with this work. Cloud, permission to kill. Like, okay, you're getting some serious points here, Aerith. You're great. Yeah, it's overall like the Time Ghost shenanigans needs to fuck off. 2 more quickies, and then I'll get to the one I want to talk about. I watched an absolutely abhorrent, evil piece of shit called The Sadness.
Yeah, you mentioned this one to me that I was like, and I looked at the IMDb like synopsis, the super short like 1 sentence one, and I was like, oh, I can see why you like clicked on it because like it sounds interesting from just the synopsis. I
am furious at this movie. I hate watched about 2/3 of it. Mm-hmm. It is on Shudder. It is a horror movie about a zombie outbreak. And the first like, I don't know, 15 minutes is pretty fucking solid. Mm-hmm. It's like, you know, that great early stage zombie outbreak sort of stuff. Oh, wait a second.
Is this the one that the foreign language one? The
Yes.
Okay. No,
well,
okay,
I've brought up 2 foreign language zombie movies to you: Virus 32 and this one.
Okay. One of them you recommended I watched, and I couldn't keep watching it because I can't do other things while I watch foreign language movies.
Yes, that one was Virus 32. Okay. That's still kind of a piece of shit.
Is The Sadness the one where there's psychopaths?
Yes.
Yeah, it's it's basically
I will. I will
Well,
not be giving this much conversation time on the podcast.
Yeah.
Because it's an abhorrent piece of shit. It turns into an hour and a half of just brutal sexual assault by the undead, which is just like, who made this? Who gave this money? And why is it like 90% on Rotten Tomatoes? Mm-hmm. That's my issue with it, is people seem to like this. This is the Gooncast official recommendation of you can skip The Sadness if you have a soul. What is good on Shudder, however, is Eli Roth's documentary series, History of Horror.
Oh, nice. Cool.
I have been binging this shit. Eli Roth as a filmmaker, he's one of those guys I more appreciate than I like his movies. I don't like his films.
Yeah.
Cabin Fever's not for me. Hostel's a piece of shit.
Yeah. He's got a vibe, he's got an aesthetic, and it's just it's not really one that gels with me, but I can appreciate that he's out there and he's making his stuff, you know?
I like him as the Bear Jew. That's about it.
God, he's great, yeah.
But he's got a brilliantly made docuseries where every episode is a different subgenre of horror. And he gets a whole like who's who of experts and actors and filmmakers.
He is very, very clearly a big fan of horror, and I think that's what makes me appreciate him, even if I don't appreciate his movies.
He's making a big step, I think, to be like the modern day horror historian.
That's awesome.
And if he is going to keep doing this, I'm all for it. Like every episode is centered around a round table of him, Greg Nicotero, and Rob Zombie. Which already there's a podcast I'll listen to.
Yeah, right? Like, holy shit.
And then different experts come in.
No, I'm kidding.
So like, you know, for the slasher episode, he has like Robert Englund, Tony Todd. He'll get all these people coming in, and it's brilliantly done. Go watch it. It's only 3 seasons, and they're like 6 or 7 episodes a piece. Because there's only like so many subgenres, but they're all done with a lot of love and care. Mm-hmm. And I watched a documentary called Class Action Park.
Huh?
All right.
Oh, I heard about this one.
I didn't hear about this one. What is
this? So this is on HBO. Okay. Class Action Park is a documentary about a water park that was the most like unsafe, unscrupulous, horrifying playground of debauchery. 7 people died in this theme park. It was started by a dude who calls himself Uncle Gene, who is such a scumbag he was kicked out of Wall Street for fraud in the 80s. 80s Wall Street didn't want this guy around.
Wow. Okay.
And he took all his money and he bought a ski resort, and he's like, man, I need to find a way to make some money during the summer months. So he made a water park. He did not get trustworthy engineers to build anything. He would like draw a loop on a dinner napkin and go, make me this. And they'd build it for him. And he'd put a crash test dummy through it, and it would come out in pieces. And he'd go, okay, rework it a little bit. And he'd retool it a little bit. And then he looked to his employees, who are teenagers between the ages of like 15 and 19, and said, $100 to anyone who wants to test it.
Oh,
and kids are like getting concussed. A kid comes through the slide with a laceration, and they're like, what caused that? And they opened up the inside of the slide and found it was caused by teeth that were embedded in the plastic from someone who went through it before.
Ooh, oh my god. What the fuck?
He has numerous beer stands all throughout the water park that his employees, who are all underage, are drinking. So it's being run by drunk 15-year-olds.
God.
So those are your lifeguards on duty. And part of this water park, across the highway, yes, across the highway, is the go-karts that these employees learned how to fuck with to remove their like speed inhibitors. So they're go-karts that go about 80 miles per hour. And these kids would just get drunk and start taking them on the freeway. It is a whole documentary about this shithole of a lawsuit waiting to happen, hence the name Class Action Park. It's brilliant. It's that bit of realism like Tiger King, where it's like, this can't actually be happening, and it is. Like, oh, my fucking favorite. There's an attraction called the Tarzan Swing. So you start at elevation and you grab a rope and you go swinging on the rope, and then you jump into the big pool of water, right? Okay. This area of water is completely natural and has not been like walled off to the outside world or anything. So it's full of wildlife. And when I say wildlife, I mean it's infested with snakes.
Okay.
And multiple of the rides were infested with hives of killer bees.
Okay.
And just bring the whole family, you know? Just let them go for a day at Action Park.
Jesus Christ.
This park is in New Jersey. This is explaining.
It's in Jersey,
okay.
baby.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's still operational these days under the care of Uncle Gene's son, who also seems like a scumbag.
According to the Wikipedia, it was briefly opened in 2014 and then shut down again in 2016.
Oh, thank God. Okay, so it's dead.
But the original park ran from 1978 to 1996.
Hell yeah. Yeah, Class Action Park. I think it's on HBO. Great documentary. Definitely worth watching. If you want a smaller, digestible version, there is a great YouTube series called Defunctland, where every episode is talking about like either a screwed up theme park with some bad history, or there's a lot of stuff on like Disneyland in it. Defunctland does an episode on Action Park that's like 20 minutes, but I say just go for the documentary. Just watch the whole thing. It's cool. So good.
Where can you watch this?
I believe HBO.
Okay, cool.
Oh, this was the inspiration for Johnny Knoxville to make Action Point.
Yes. Yeah, this is the park that inspired that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's wonderful. So that's what I've been up to.
Damn. All right. Very cool. Yeah, I have a couple little things I wanted to mention that I think I've probably done more than this, but these are the things that have been most recently on my mind. So I'm like, yeah, we should talk about them a little bit. Stranger Things season 4. I watched all of that.
I have not seen that yet. Is it good?
It is the best thing since the first season of Stranger Things.
That's what I've heard. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's genuinely, like, I think it kind of gets back to what we liked about the show in the first place. For me, one of the subplots is a bit of a miss. I won't spoil it for you, but yeah, it's just kind of like in a vacuum. When you hear what this subplot is about, it's kind of like, oh shit, that sounds really exciting. But in execution and put up against the more interesting plots happening elsewhere in the series, it just kind of fizzles out a little bit. It just doesn't seem that interesting. Which is a shame, because there's good actors in it, but it's just kind of like everything else is more like, I found myself in those scenes waiting for them to end so I could get to the next interesting stuff that was happening. Like the actual things I was interested in. It has a lot of Carpenter vibes to it, but also a lot of Wes Craven vibes. To the point where Robert Englund has a cameo.
Yeah.
And it's an incredibly fitting cameo, and it's wonderful. So yeah, I don't have much to say about it beyond that, because I don't want to, spoil it for you guys if you're interested, but
much appreciated.
Season 4 was great. And then, even though the season is not over yet, the season is still ongoing, I am watching season 3 of The Boys. Which, if you liked season 1 and 2 of The Boys, you will continue watching season 3. It is still good.
The boys are still boys.
The boys are still boys. It's still that level of, like, fun, extremely violent and disturbing nonsense that, like, come to know and love. There's a little bit, I think, less of a, like, I think season 2 was not as good as season 1, but I still liked season 2. I think season 2 introduced an element. Have you both seen it?
I've seen season 1. I've seen season 1.
All right, well, then I won't spoil it, but season 2 introduces an element of, so, like, season 1, like, the whole point of the show is that, like, oh, they're superheroes and they don't give a fuck about collateral damage. Like, regular people are just, like, almost nothing to them. They're like PR stunts if they're saved, and they're, just a goopy puddle of gore that you need to shove under the rug if they're not saved, right? Like,
and even if you don't save them, it can still be a PR stunt.
Yes, exactly. Like, it's just like, yeah, this is the whole show is that. But so, and the main characters are these regular people who are trying to take down superheroes, even though they don't have superpowers, and these people could literally snap them like twigs at the slightest provocation.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's such an interesting power dynamic. It's such a like nail biting kind of like dangerous show. And, season 2, obviously, like, they can't, like the main characters are pretty much like, they're not untouchable, but it's kind of like, oh, they're probably going to survive these things. But season 2 introduces this new element of danger that somehow had me more on the edge of my seat than, like, the entire premise of season 1, where I was just like, I don't know. Anyone could be in danger at any moment because of this one element. And I was so excited about it. Like, every single, like, I could basically kind of know a little bit that, like, oh, it's probably not going to happen in this part because, that wouldn't be dramatically satisfying. But every moment there was a chance for it to happen, and it was just like, ooh, this is cool. So season 3, that kind of goes away a little bit, but it's still really good. And yeah, it's got, I don't know, it's still got that, like, disturbing, fun grotesqueness about it that just makes it nice. A nice little, like, okay, you're watching it to be disturbed. You're watching it to be just weirded out and like, ugh.
Just based on season 1, Lee, the soups are genuinely terrifying.
Yeah.
Homelander in particular.
If
Superman was like a fucking abhorrent, evil psychopath. Like this is not just Superman's a dick like an Injustice.
No, it's like like Superman was raised in a lab and never knew love, and like, oh my god,
and is like very unhinged and good god, dude.
It's wonderfully disgusting and horrifying.
I won't spoil the moment, but just in like regards to another like superhero comparison or whatever, Lee, imagine if the Flash accidentally ran into somebody when they were going at
I've
top
seen
speed.
That clip.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's tons of stuff like that.
Yeah, it's in the first episode. It's the inciting incident for our main character Huey to get involved with the boys, but his girlfriend becomes one of said collateral damage to a soup where the Flash equivalent runs through her and she's just gone. She
is a puddle.
Yeah, it's fucking insane, and that happens like all the time in the show where it's just like, you know, regular people are so fucking fragile and like next to soups that it's just like, it's gross and weird and fun. And yeah, if you like The Boys, if you like Invincible, this is a show to check out. Just check out the next season. It's been fun so far.
Yeah, I've been meaning to check that out because my only exposure to it, other than like Osmosis and liking Carl Urban, is one of my favorite pro wrestlers, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, is basing his current character off of Homelander.
Oh god.
So he dresses that way and like acts like he's trying to be like the good hero that the audience needs, and he's like a selfish piece of shit.
Oh god, that's awesome. That's
so
cool.
I've been tempted to give it a shot just based off.
You should. I think you would enjoy it. I think you would find it fun. But yeah, and I'd be interested to hear what you have to think, because it's definitely a show. It's definitely a show that I think like it doesn't like super lend itself to discussion. Like it's not one of those like water cooler shows like Game of Thrones was, but it is still something where it's like, yeah, hey, like fucking weird, right? Like that was pretty fucked up. Like, yeah, you know, it's just it's fun.
Okay.
But anyway, the last two things I wanted to mention were two video games, or a video game that I've been playing a shit ton of, and so I'm big into TTRPGs, but I've actually been a little bit on hiatus with some of mine recently, just because people have other things going on in their lives. So bit of a bummer, but it's fine. But I have gotten to play some board games that I wanted to, or a board game in particular I wanted to talk about. So first thing is I've been playing a shit ton of Stardew Valley.
Yeah.
I am super, super late on this train because I knew how dangerous Stardew was going to be for me.
It's obscenely dangerous.
It's basically, it's my game. It was made for me. Like, it's 100%, you know, like I loved Harvest
There was a Stardew Valley shaped hole in your chest.
Yes, absolutely. I loved Harvest Moon. I loved, Animal Crossing. I'm just like, oh, this is everything I adore about just like a time waster kind of like sweet little video game where it's just like, oh yeah, you just walk around, you talk to villagers, you craft things, you take care of your farm, and it's just a vibe. It's just like, and there's so much to do in it, and it's one dev basically for like the entire thing, and I'm just like, bravo, dude, like this is dope. I'm 100% on board. I currently have like 3 or 4 Stardew Valley wiki tabs open because like, and I made myself a spreadsheet of things I still need to do to like finish some quest stuff up for it. So I'm having a blast. It's been a very fun like way to like relax after the work day. It's been just like, yeah, I'll just fire up Stardew and hang out and play in my farm. And it's got co-op, so Will and I have been doing it a little bit. I play more than him, but you know, still, I'm having a ton of fun.
Hell yeah.
And the last thing I wanted to mention was I have been getting more into the Arkham Horror card game. So it's been a while since I've been playing. I have a group of friends that I'm playing through the At the Edge of the World, or Edge of the World module, which is based on At the Mountains of Madness, which is my favorite Lovecraft story. So therefore, like, I'm fucking huge into that one, and I love it. But you know, again, this is like the same group I play D&D with, so people have other things going on in their lives, so that one's been on hiatus for a while. But one of my friends, she and I have been playing through a couple of like one-shots together sometimes. And specifically we played one called Machinations Through Time, which was an Arkham Horror one-shot that was about, it was like, it had a time travel mechanic. Basically, you were trying to essentially, like, these people existed in 3 different times and then they went missing, and you are passing through the like non-Euclidean space, basically. What's the realm of the, you were passing through Tyndalos to get to different timelines to like solve different problems to ensure that these people invent teleportation to like
interesting.
save the world. Yeah, it's so fucking cool. It was such a good, like, such an interesting mechanic. They had a bunch of different things that like were set up a certain way. There was like an element of like, there was a ticking clock element. There were these elements of like, if you did something in the past, it could affect the future, and then you would have to go to the future to get things to put in the past to then affect the future. It was so well done that like even though I've played through it already, which a lot of them, like, you know, once you play through it once, it's kind of like, oh, you already know kind of like what to expect. I can't wait to play through it again because I don't know what to expect if we choose different things. And that to me is like, yeah, so fucking brilliant. So
dig that. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, Arkham Horror has been very, very fun. And actually today, the reason we're not going to play The Quarry tonight is because I'm going to play another Arkham one-shot with a couple friends.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, I'm really, really pumped about this one. It's basically Clue. It's Murder at the Excelsior Hotel, I think, is what it's called. But yeah, it should be pretty good. It should be pretty good. Comes highly, highly recommended. So
yeah, that's about right on time, because like I've been getting the tabletop bug biting me lately.
Oh,
like
yeah.
I'm thinking of putting together at least a one shot for D&D, because I've been wanting to DM.
Really?
I haven't run a campaign in a couple of years now, and I'm starting to get that itch.
Oh my god.
Because I mean, for a long time it was like I didn't have a period of time where I didn't have a campaign of some kind going. And now it's been a little bit, and I'm like, ooh, maybe I should get something like that going.
I mean, listen, I won't force you to, but I love D&D and I love TTRPGs, and I would love to play in one of your campaigns.
I don't want to say that I'm sending you pamphlets about this game right now, but what's your address?
Oh my god. Yeah, please, Lee. I would, oh my god, I like fucking love it. I have also been thinking about trying to kind of like see if you guys would be into doing some sort of like one shot in the Call of Cthulhu TTRPG. Because I think you both would dig it.
Yeah, D&D is life, so
yeah.
I'm
I don't know
I'm
how
down
much
to try a different tabletop. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Yeah. We'll talk later.
Sounds
all right.
good to me.
Yeah. So that's my list. That's basically like what I've been up to the past like 2 months.
Hell yeah.
So yeah.
Don't watch Morbius.
Don't watch Morbius at all, ever. But you know, but keep memeing it so we get Morbius too.
Yeah. And then don't watch that.
Yeah, and then
especially do not go to the theaters to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I want Sony Pictures to lose more money.
Yes. I don't need Morbius to win. I just need Sony Pictures to lose.
Exactly.
There it is.
Exactly.
Oh man. All right. So, signing off. I'm Cat the Attack Cat on Twitch. It's Morbin time.
The Morbius fried our brains.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, one more time. This was your boy Lee Alder, the Valley Jester. I am back streaming again. I am at twitch.tv/Valley Jester. I'm currently playing through Disco Elysium.
Hell yeah.
We are doing a run as a Psycho Cop of the Apocalypse.
Excellent.
Kim
watch.
barely puts up with my shit.
I would watch, but I really want to. I want to play it myself, spoiler free. So
absolutely.
I lurk for you.
Yeah, I do my damnedest to avoid the spoilers because there's so much good shit that you can do in this game. So yeah, that's what I'm doing.
This is Saber. Fuck you, Lee, for making us watch Morbius.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, I don't have anything else. Just don't watch Morbius. All right, bye.
I'm starting to morb.
He's Saber0307 on Twitch. We're currently in the middle of streaming The Quarry together, and also he's got a shit ton of Back to Ghoul stuff planned.
Don't watch. Just end life.
And get ready for the Fear Street sequel, everybody. Take care.
All
right. No Fear Street.
I'm dead inside.
And that's all, folks.
Yeah.
Get fucked.
Beautiful.